Hi, and welcome to Dream Machines. Today we're at the Greenwich Concours d'Elegance, where over the next hour, we'll show you some of the finest classic cars you'll ever see. Greenwich, Connecticut, with its rolling green hills and winding country roads, is the perfect backdrop for one of the nation's most exquisite classic car shows. It's known as a festival of speed and style, and you can see why. This field of cars spans the entire century, offering a close-up look at pieces of history, or rolling sculpture, as some connoisseurs call them, all restored in meticulous, vibrant detail. For connoisseurs or anyone interested in motoring trends through the years, these shows provide camaraderie, a chance to swap stories, a place to dress in vintage apparel, and of course, a place to show off their pride and joy. And it doesn't matter what the vehicle is, or how old it is, or what you choose to do with it. For this crowd, a love of cars keeps the wheels of history moving on. Jim Covert shares the history of his 1948 Tucker.
The Tucker story is very much of an American entrepreneurial story. Preston Tucker was the guy who made all of the glass globes for the B-29 bombers during the Second World War. And following the war, he wanted to build a better engineered car, and he designed the Tucker to be that better engineered car. And the car had some unique safety features. It was the first car to have all disc brakes, and to have a collapsible windshield. In an accident, the windshield pops out so you didn't go through the windshield, and has a crash compartment up front here. You could lay on the floor if you knew a crash was coming and be safer. He put the engine of the car in the rear of the car so you weren't up there with it, and had collision design into the front end. You could interchange the front seat with the back seat, so that if the seat started to wear out in the front, you would just take it out and put it in the back and put the back one to the front. One of the other unique features of the Tucker is that the center light is chain driven by the steering column, and as you steer the car left or right, the interior of that light rotates with you, so you actually see around the corner before you get there, and that was another one of the safety features that he added to the car. This car is its original color. Nobody was quite sure what color waltz blue really was. And it was a pretty famous color because Preston Tucker, copied it off of a ball gown that his wife had. But when we removed the steering column from this car, we were able to find some of the original paint on the firewall, and then we matched it to this. So this is exactly the waltz blue that he used in 1948. Unfortunately, you know, he only manufactured the car once. There were 51 cars made in total. One was a prototype, and then 50 regular manufactured vehicles. This car here was number 46. And the last 7 cars of the Tucker line ever built were actually assembled by his family and his immediate staff. So this is one of those cars that was put together by his son and the immediate staff of the company. Now the car, at the time it was manufactured, never became the great car that it could have become because it still was pretty much a prototype. And this car, being number 46, one of the last put together, was assembled even worse actually by his family and by his staff. When we disassembled the car, we removed over 212 pounds of lead out of this upper door frame area right here. And we re-stretched the metal and used Bondo where we needed to smooth it and so on, because the lead tends to separate from the metal of the car, and you always get these lines where the lead is. So we were able to fix that. So this car today is actually much better than it ever was when it was brand new. It was a great car, but Tucker unfortunately got put out of business by a senator in Wisconsin who was working for the big automakers. They accused him of crimes of misusing the investor funds that he had to build the company. And ultimately, he was found innocent on every federal charge, but he had spent all of his money to defend himself and was never able to restart the company. They had taken his building away from him illegally, and ultimately 7 years later, he died broke, of cancer, and was never able to refound the car. There were only 51 of them ever built, but this has the highest rate of survival of any car ever manufactured, because they didn't auction the cars off in the bankruptcy until 1951. By then, there was great speculation about the future value of the cars, and so many of them went to museums and people hung on to the cars. And so today, you still have some 48 of the cars remaining out of the 51 that were ever manufactured. And certainly, this car is without a doubt the finest Tucker in existence in the world today. So if you want to see a Tucker, there's no finer one than this one right here.
Well, you meet a lot of interesting people. It's a good way to develop friends. Wherever you go, people come up and start talking to you, and that's the part that appeals to me the most. This is 1932 Packard. It's a convertible coupe. It has a rumble seat, which is the feature that I was most interested in when I bought this car. I bought it about 2 years ago, and the way I got it, I have a lot of old cars, and every time I go to a show, I see a car that I like more than the one that I have. So I thought, let's pick out the car in all the world that I like the best, and then find it and buy it, and then I won't be dissatisfied in the future. So this is the car. A car in this condition is worth somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000. It's a rather unique car because it has the spare tire in the back, and has some other features that aren't found on most Packards. These headlights, they're called trip lights, and they steer with the wheels. So when you turn the wheel of the car, the lights also turn and face the direction that you're going. Years later, Mr. Tucker, when he brought out his car, tried to make people think that he invented this idea, but it was already in existence back in 1932. I bought the car and the body was in very good condition, but the engine was almost ruined, and then I had it totally rebuilt. It was taken apart down to every little piece and remachined, and now it's just like a brand new engine. So mechanically the car, I could probably put another 100,000 miles on it. I believe in driving a car. That's the whole point of owning it. So I drive it everywhere. There are a lot of people who just truck their cars from one show to another and they keep them in perfect condition, but I don't think that's the point of having a car. It's more fun to drive it everywhere. The rumble seat is what I like the most. I put the grandchildren in there, and this is the car they most want to drive in. Unfortunately, I don't get to drive in the rumble seat very often because I'm the one steering the car, so I have to find somebody I trust if I'm going to ride back there.
The Greenwich Concours knows all about attracting attention. The New York Times calls the Concours a world-class event, and that's not an understatement. This is an invitation-only show where cars and their owners are handpicked by the judges. Once a car has been exhibited in the show, it can't be shown again for 3 years. Every car has a story behind it. Many of these one-of-a-kind or limited productions were custom built for celebrities or royalty or purchased by them throughout the years. Each of the Concours cars has its own character, not the least of which is this Aston Martin.
This is an early Aston Martin DB5 left-hand drive car. It was one of the first cars with air conditioning, which if you've ever been in one of these cars, air conditioning is an important add-on to have. This has a massive engine in the car. It has a straight six engine, it's about 330 horsepower, and they're very hot, and the firewall is not very well insulated. So in the summer in particular, it's a sauna box inside there. I am the third owner of the car. I bought it in California from Elle Macpherson, who had it for about 7 years, and she had it painted black on the roof all the way down to the boot. And she only drove it a couple times a year. It had been in California since 1965. It had been owned by another person in Beverly Hills. It's got about 60,000 miles on it. It has the original interior in the car. We've redone some of the mechanicals and clearly cleaned up the bodywork a bit, but it's an extremely original car, which I drive around. I mean, I drive it to the office. I'm a great believer. I have a bunch of these cars, and either you use them or get rid of them. And I actively race both historic cars and modern cars. Aston Martins from this period have big monster motors in them that go very quickly, and they look sort of cool on the racetrack. So this is a street version of that car. As you can see, it's got wire wheels. I have the skinny 16-inch wheels on here. The race version of these cars, I run 15-inch wider wheels, but also in wire. What distinguishes this car and the early James Bond cars is they went to this sort of sloped headlamp look after the Aston Martin DB4 Series 5, which was really what the original James Bond car, which looks like this one, had the same headlamps. And then they made 800 of these cars over 5 years, about a third of which were left-hand drive cars, and a handful had air conditioning. I love the body shape from that period. It's very sensual. You know, they're unique in that, and these cars are very fast because although it looks large, it uses a technology at the time called Superleggera, which is hence the name on the hood. Which is basically where they took a sandwich of aluminum and put a fabric sandwich in the middle of it. And as a result, the car is extremely light, but it's also reasonably susceptible to dents. So if you have it in your garage and your kids' bikes are hanging over, you have to be a little bit more cautious than usual. These cars are notable for having a very large lower scoop underneath the radiator, which allows you to pull a lot of air, and the car requires a lot of air to keep it cooled. I think this car today is probably worth, north of $200,000. It's pretty special, but you got to use them. I mean, I have things like I have the sticker from my race team on the back window, so which is, in the world of purist cars, that's a major no-no. Why own these things if you're not going to enjoy them? If you're just going to shine them and leave them in the garage, you might as well buy another painting.
At the end of World War II, automobile makers stopped their production for the military and resumed the manufacture of civilian vehicles. For their post-war selection, Chrysler introduced the Town & Country line that featured both sedans and convertibles. Sporting a highly memorable body style, the car took its name from the combination of the steel front end, representing the town, and the wood paneling that represented the country. The body is framed in white ash, which required extensive handwork. So as a result, production of this Town & Country model ended in 1950. This four-door sedan variation was marketed as an estate car and was well received by the public. Let's jump ahead 20 years to 1969 and marvel at this Pontiac GTO.
It's a original engine, matching numbers, 350 horsepower. It's a convertible and it's white interior, parchment, according to 1969 standards. And it's just such a pleasure to drive. It has not given me any trouble. It's a damn sexy car, and it has the lines of it are just fantastic. And 1969 is a great year. I'm an artist, I collect vintage clothing. The car fell into place along with the clothes. We don't wear blue blazers, our bottom jaw moves. And I can't even believe they even let me into this show. Wait for the judging tomorrow. I wanted to get in the show last year, but the car was in Oklahoma. And it actually wasn't ready because I was having the upholstery redone. So we made it in this year. I'm prepared. I'm going after one category, and that's fashion and your car. They just don't make them like this anymore. They really don't. They don't, look at the chrome. It's beautiful. It's sculptural. To me, it's a gorgeous car. Anybody could have the money and go in and buy a Lamborghini or Ferrari. But you can't just go into a store and buy this car anymore, a showroom. And it's just awesome to drive.
Brownie says her GTO matches her personality because it's such a pleasure to be with.
This is one of 3 Bugatti 57S Atlantic coupes that were made. This was the first one. It was delivered in December of 1936 to a Lord Victor Rothschild in England. I'm the 5th owner of this car. The former owner, after he died, this car was offered in public auction as a sole single car auction, and I was fortunate enough to have the winning bid. And that was in 1971. So I've owned the car for some time. Its shape is outstanding. The riveted seams give it a little extra flair. I don't know, I think it's just one of the great all-time cars that was ever built. To drive one of these cars is an experience as well. They were wonderful running cars, they handle beautifully, and they're very, very fast. Even by today's standards, they'll raise some eyebrows. I've passed people driving one of these at 90 miles an hour with little problem. We used it a lot. We drove it in various rallies. We drove it in the Colorado Grand, a 1,000-mile race through the Colorado Rockies, and enjoyed it very much. And then 3 years ago, we decided to put it into the condition it was in when Lord Rothschild received it. The car at one time was painted tomato red, and then it was a sky blue when I originally bought it. And a number of modifications had been made on it. The headlights had been faired into the fenders, the rear windows had been opened up, the rear wheel covers had been opened up as well. It's a very important car in automotive history because it's very well known, and I think the favorite part about this car was working with some very talented people that allowed us to research and bring the car back to original. And in the course of tearing the car apart for restoration, we found there were a number of areas that had this very pretty kind of a bluish silver metallic paint, and we decided that might have been the original color. However, when I spoke to some automotive authorities, they said, yes, you'd never paint that car a metallic color because it just is not right for the car. It was never painted metallic. And then we found the original factory records, and it said silver blue metallique, so we knew for sure that was the right color. When we tore the upholstery out of the doors, we found blue leather that had not been bleached out by the sun, and that was the original blue leather, and that's the color that we have. Now, all the body modifications have been eliminated or brought back to original. The headlamps are the way they were originally, the rear windows, the rear skirts. Everything about the car now is as close as we think we can make it to its original configuration. I'd like to say they never made an ugly Bugatti, but I do know of one. But most of them are very attractive cars. You can see them around on the field here today. Those are awfully good-looking cars. The appeal is appearance and performance. These cars were so far ahead of their time. When you consider this car, look at a 1936 Ford and compare it to this car, or 1936 Cadillac. The performance of this car was simply years ahead of its time. And I don't look at myself as an owner of a piece of art, in a piece of automotive history like this. I'm just a custodian. And I hope we're going to have a lot of other custodians that follow me, keep this thing the way it is now.
As an artist, Bugatti's cars truly define the concept of rolling sculpture.
I love all classic cars, and I have some other sorts, but I really love the Bugattis because I think they have a classic French ambiance, and they're really Art Deco, which is my favorite period of art style. And just the body lines, the configuration, even if you go inside the engine or any little detail he has a very unique way, had a very unique way of designing every little mechanical part. He was really more a sculptor. Originally, his father was a sculptor. They came obviously from Italy originally and then immigrated to Paris and France, and then got into the automobile business, but he retained this artistic sculpture approach. So every one of these is one-off, and it's a piece of art as much as a functioning automobile. But they were great race cars and great touring cars also. He probably started manufacturing his own cars in 1910 or thereabouts, and so they go through a whole series of different types. Type 35, Type 42, Type 55, this is a Type 57, and these were very popular. He was successful with those in the 30s, and there are probably 700 and some 800 of the Type 57s of various makes of body, different chassis designs, and different engines. This is longer than most of the Bugattis. The more standard conventional ones would have been somewhat shorter in the rear, for instance. It has a very flowing line with the rear fenders and the boot or the trunk, the way it has an extra indentation in it and style and the way it flows. And I also like the 3-position top. We've got it now in the middle position, which is great fun. This particular one here, there probably were a dozen that were made with the Latournier and Marchand body on them, and this was the next to the last one. It has a great history, which is the other thing I love about the history, because I have all the documentation, including the original orders, purchase, and so forth, and it has a great, very fascinating history because it was originally owned by a fellow who ended up in the French underground. His girlfriend kept the car in France and hid it from the Nazis. Eventually the Nazis appropriated it and used it as a staff car. Then the U.S. military used it as a command car at the end of World War II. And the fellow who originally owned it, Colonel Ackerman was his name, came back to Paris in 1945. They couldn't find the car. So the French government gave him his original purchase price back. Then it eventually turned up again. The French government sold it in 1947. I don't know who knows where it was. Then it was restored and shown in France for a number of years, and then imported to the U.S. in 1960, mechanically restored, but shipped back to London with the original coachwork and paint and so forth in pretty bad shape, probably 3-4 years ago, and that's where I found it, brought it here and did a complete body off. You can imagine kind of great stories about this. I drive it quite often in Chicago, and enjoy just driving it around, go down and get the mail, get the groceries, whatever. You got to be careful where you park it in the parking lot.
Well, there's nostalgia and then there's tradition. For Lord and Lady Wren, this Mercedes limousine is all about that family connection. Bianca's father bought it from a Hollywood producer and used it for all their special family occasions.
This car is a 1960 Mercedes-Benz 300D Adenauer. The Adenauer was made for the Chancellor Konrad Adenauer in the 1950s. It was made between 1957 and 1962. They only built 5,000 of them in that period. In 1960, the year this car was made, they only built 581. Out of that 581, less than 200 came into the US. This car you're looking at is in its original condition, with the exception of the body colour. It was originally black. It was resprayed to this ivory colour in 1990. The interior and the engine, everything else about it is completely original. It was originally owned by a Hollywood producer. It has been in some movies. Unfortunately, I'm not sure which to this date, which ones. It was brought over here 22 years ago from Florida by my late father-in-law.
It has been in the family for 22 years. It was really a special purchase when my father had it shipped to Connecticut. We were all very excited about it. I was still in high school at the time, and this car was the car that brought us to and from our graduations, any special celebrations, and it was really, it's been such a sentimental part of our family. And when I married Philip just a few years ago, it was very special to me that my mother gave the car to Philip. And it's been such a wonderful gift. I know how much he adores the car, how much he knows about the car, and it will pass then along to our son Alex.
What makes this so special is if you look at the opening of the windows, when you drop both the windows and the front and back doors, there is no center pillar on the windows. Also, the rear quarter light comes out as well. Because this car was built for the Chancellor, it was built as a limousine for touring dignitaries. So if you're sitting in the back being chauffeured, the idea of the rear quarter light being removed is you can lean out of the car and still wave to people. My father-in-law had it really as just his toy, and I've been looking after it now for a few years. And when I saw this show was coming up in Greenwich, which I've been to a number of times over the last few years but never exhibited at, I called and entered the car for its first time.
Every time that we've taken it out, it's been to a dinner or to a special event, but to take it to a show and have people that are really enthusiasts and appreciate its age, the curves, the beautiful paintwork, just the quality, the originality of the car makes it extra special. To be able to be a part of a convoy of such beautiful and special and rare cars, people that take good care of their cars, they're enthusiasts, they enjoy the quality of the car, the age of the car, and to be able to see all the people on the streets just waving and smiling and being a part of it and being very excited as we are, it warms the heart. It really does.
Collecting classic cars can be expensive, time-consuming, and downright frustrating if you don't know what you're getting into. Preeminent collector Malcolm Prey offers a few tips on getting started.
I've got the cars that you see here, which are classics, pre-war American in many cases in this garage, pre-war European, and sports cars. And then I have another collection about 5 miles from here of about 40 cars that I bring young people from the city, I'm usually underprivileged kids, let them sit in the cars, see the cars, get excited over them, and then I spend an hour or so telling them how they can earn the money to buy those cars. I enjoy sharing possessions. I started as a car salesman 50 years ago in Greenwich. A lot of the cars that I have are cars that I sold at that time. It gives them a little bit of an inspiration, the same inspiration that every one of us got somewhere early in our life. I have a total of a little over 80 cars right now, strictly by impulse. And a lot of it happens at auctions, and I see a car I don't even plan to buy, and it comes up. I've got to curtail it because space is a premium. Now, it's very easy to collect stamps. You can find some place to put stamps. But cars, when you buy one, you have to worry about getting it home and finding a spot for it. If you don't drive them, it's very easy. The problem is when you don't drive them for sometimes a year and you take them out, it's like the human body. If you don't exercise and keep yourself in shape, when you do exercise, you fall apart. And it's the same way with cars. The seals, the belts, and various things go wrong. It's a passion. Some people have the passion for stamps, for art, and they're either car people or they're not car people. You can't take somebody who can go out and buy a car collector car for a lot of money and show it, but if they don't have a passion, it doesn't mean anything. If they don't have a passion for it somewhere along the line, forget it. Don't bother. If they have a passion, go buy an 8-year-old Mustang or something that they can afford. Don't get over your head in buying things that you can't afford. It's like anything else. It's like buying a house. We have too many people today who buy things that they can't afford. But you can have just as much fun with a 10-year-old Mustang that you can buy for maybe $10,000, $5,000, I have no idea. And you can have as much fun as the guy who spends $2 million buying somebody else's restored treasure. So even the lowest priced car, somebody with a 1936 Ford that he has worked on himself, has more pride and passion than some of these millionaire friends of mine who go out and buy a car and think they can buy a trophy with it.
This is a 1927 Duesenberg. It's known as the Duesenberg Model X. At the time they weren't called Model X's, but they later became known as Model X Duesenbergs. They were the transition car between the Model A Duesenbergs that were produced between 1919 and 1926 and the J Duesenbergs that were produced after 1929. They had 13 chassis in this Model X series that were prototype cars, and they ended up, as far as we know, bodying, we know 4 bodies for sure, we don't know how many more. There are only 4 in existence. Each of the 4 bodies was different. This one is a boat roadster because it has a tapered back end like a boat does. And it was bodied by a company in Connersville, Indiana, McFarland Corporation. They made McFarland cars, and Duesenberg asked them to manufacture this thing. The Duesenberg brothers, incidentally, were racers. I think it's important that you understand these passenger cars came out of a racing tradition. By 1927, Duesenberg had won Indianapolis 4 times with their race cars. And this is the same basic prototype engine as the Duesenberg Straight 8 is what's the distinguishing feature of the drivetrain in this car. It's a powerful 8-cylinder engine, overhead cam, which was unusual at the time, and it provided all sorts of excess power. Actually, this car has only 100 horsepower, and it's very hard to move because it weighs nearly 6,000 pounds. However, the thing about it is that it's incredibly racy looking. And sexy. You know, it's got a wonderful attraction to it. As a matter of fact, the man that first bought it was sponsored race teams for Duesenberg at Indianapolis. His name was Arnold Kirkby, and he owned the Drake Hotel, and he was a very wealthy guy until 1929, then he jumped off a building, as I understand it. But anyway, this car, when we restored it, it came to me in boxes mostly. I had restored a 1923 Duesenberg, and the fellow that owned this car had seen that restoration, and he came to me and he said, I want you to buy this car. I really hadn't wanted to buy it, but he came to me and said, I know that you'll do a good job. We negotiated the price, and that started about 2.5 to 3 years of work, probably 4,000 hours we put into the restoration. The colors are true. We found the exact color of the blue inside the cowl vent here. We did a spectroscope reading on it and came up with this color combination. We know that's correct. The leather interior, we found a piece of leather way up under the dashboard, and it was hidden from the light for all those years, and we just took some spit, and that's what this is. That's the right color. The thing that makes it special is that as a transition car, they made just one of them. And when Mr. Court acquired the company, he decided that he would manufacture a boat-tail speedster, but it was going to be on the Auburn body. The Auburn boat-tail speedster from about 1928 on is actually modeled on these plans. A guy in California approached me and he said, Mr. Hayden, I understand that you have this wonderful car, and when you want to sell it, we'd love to sell it. We'd love to buy it. And I said, well, I'm not selling it. I just spent 3 years of my life putting this car back together. And he said, we're not talking about any J Duesenberg. He said, J Duesenbergs, what do they sell for? $1 million, $1.5 million. He said, we understand that this car is really rare. I said, yep, it is very rare and beautifully done. He said, yeah, beautifully done. And he said, well, we're talking low 7 figures. I said, well, I'm still not interested. But when I got home, my wife, who cares nothing about money at all, she's just really a very pure person and a horsewoman and a humaniac, a wonderful person. At this point, she said, does low mean 2 or 4?
The Ritziardellis of New Jersey own this 1935 Duesenberg. model S.J. LeGrand Dual Cowl Phaeton, which is continually chosen as best of show in numerous concours around the country.
We've owned it for about 5 years. It was in restoration, a complete body-off restoration for almost 2 years. It was in 40,000 pieces and didn't even look like a car anymore. And then miraculously, it became this piece of machinery that we think is lovely. This is a very rare vehicle. It's the only one that was made by LeGrand in 1935. It was purchased by the owner of the Wall Street Journal as a birthday present to his son. And I believe it was $21,000 in 1935. And that was a phenomenal amount of money in 1935. You could have bought maybe 6 houses. I would guess that it's worth about $2 million right now. It was in pretty good condition when we bought it, which didn't matter at all because we tore it down to nothing and started from scratch all over again. And eventually it became a car again. It's not fun when it's all apart because it's scary. You know, you're investing all this money into a bunch of metal that sits on shelves for a year or more, and then miraculously it becomes a beautiful car again. My husband's been a collector of cars and boats and motorcycles for a very long time. He's had toys since he was 16 years old. And it started slowly, and we've got about 30 cars right now. His collection is diversified. It goes from classic cars to motorcycles, as I said. We've got some hot rod cars. I've got my own 1932 Ford Roadster, which I drive myself. And we go to shows all over the country. The car has taken us to some of the nicest places. You have different sets of friends for different things that you do, and we have a whole set of friends that are our car club friends. So we meet all over. We don't meet at home, but we meet all over the country at car shows. So it's fun because you anticipate seeing those friends when you go away to a show, and that's part of it.
The Chicago Auto Show, the largest of its kind in North America and the third largest in the world, exhibits over 1,000 vehicles each year. Every auto manufacturer interested in selling cars will use this and other auto shows to showcase their latest model line and to profile concept cars that highlight the future of their brand. But that's just a start. Automakers use a variety of techniques to give their brand a leading edge on the competition. From special delivery options to specialized performance driving programs, car companies aim both to entice new customers and to keep them faithful to their brand for life. Not that this is anything new. Marketing has been around well before the first car company, but markets change along with the needs of the buying public. Car companies must predict trends and respond well. A bad choice can be a wrong turn that's easily corrected, or a costly mistake that brings an end to business. Luckily, the cars themselves survive, and even the histories of failed manufacturers can increase value in the classic resale market. For motor fanatics, no car ever really dies. It just collects a little rust sometimes. The market for these rolling sculptures rivals the business of the traditional art world, and whether hot off the factory line or a frame-up restoration of a recent barn find, it all works together to create the art of the sell. One of the best ways to sell a car is through product placement. When you hear James Bond, you can't help but think Aston Martin, a connection filled with mystery, elegance, and a little danger, and one that the automaker is glad to capitalize on with the latest DB9. Christina Bruzzi is the marketing director for Aston Martin.
The DB9 offers a lot of tremendous new technological features. One, it's built in the brand new state-of-the-art facility in Gaydon. We offer a fantastic aluminum-bodied, lightweight V12 engine that gives you 450 brake horsepower along with 420 pound-foot of torque, which will take you from 0 to 60 in just under 5 seconds. Now, in a very James Bond-esque way, you want to start your car very quickly with the engine start button made out of crystal. You'll put the car into drive the 6-speed automatic ZF transmission, and communicate more with the car by using the shift paddle technology. A lot of other wonderful features starting from the handcrafted quality, which takes us 202 hours to put this together. Bamboo in the car for the very first time in the auto industry, also incorporating a Motorola V600 Bluetooth technology phone, which allows me to do my driving in this high-performance sports car without using my phone. I can use the touch pads and answer my phone incorporating the V600 Bluetooth technology. And make sure that you're hearing a wonderful Aston Martin V12 engine growl at you as your phone call comes in. So as you can see, handcrafted quality, definitely luxury levels of comfort, and a heck of a performance on the V12 engine. The DB9 Coupe starts at $155,000 with the Volante coming in at $168,000, available this year. But unfortunately, they don't come with the machine guns like James Bond's car.
Every major car maker has a spot at the Chicago Auto Show. First produced in 1901, the show has been staged more times than any other in North America and pulls in over 1 million visitors every year. It's no wonder that Rolls-Royce annually exhibits in the convention hall. This is the latest model of the Rolls-Royce Phantom. The traditional Spirit of Ecstasy hood ornament automatically retracts to prevent theft and to protect pedestrians in the event of an accident. BMW provides the assembled engine, a 6.75-liter, 48-valve V12. Like the DB9, the Phantom body is also mostly aluminum and includes rear-hinged coach doors.
Our coach doors have been designed for our customers' ease in entry and exit to the vehicle, and also for a security zone. But once they're outside the vehicle, quite often inclement weather occurs. While we can't change the weather, we can provide for their protection.
Final assembly of each Phantom is completed to the individual customer's personal specifications at the plant in West Sussex, England. And, with the exception of 2 robots who paint the bodies, all work at the factory is done by hand, in keeping with the Rolls-Royce tradition. Given the recent global financial troubles, bad business decisions can be costlier than ever. But even still, experimentation is what gives a manufacturer the edge. Example, the Volkswagen Phaeton. For the last 50 years, Volkswagen has been known best for the Beetle, probably one of the most iconic shapes in the world. Today they start around $20,000, but now the logo is the same and the slogan is the same, but the price? $88,505, including a $3,000 gas guzzler tax. A few years ago, Volkswagen tried to break into the luxury market with the 2004 Phaeton. Here's what one dealer had to say back then.
Well, I know that the introduction of this car has been a little bit controversial, but I actually think it's brilliant. Volkswagen has built its driver base on enthusiastic, fun, young drivers that want something different, that's a little bit more sporty. They want a German car and they want something fun, and Volkswagen has capitalized on that. But I think this is a huge long-term strategy, because what happens when that driver gets a little older, wants something a little bit bigger, wants a family sedan, wants a sports sedan, they can jump up to a BMW or they can look at Mercedes and some of the other Japanese competitors. But Volkswagen now has a strategy that can keep their customers loyal and go into vehicles like the Touareg and like the Phaeton. Sure, it'll be, for the first couple of years, we probably won't sell a lot of cars, but the car is being very well received. It drives phenomenal. And I think, again, from a long-term perspective, Volkswagen is being brilliant with this strategy coming out with this vehicle.
So did it work? Well, no. Less than 1,500 were sold in the U.S. in 2004, and only 820 were sold in 2005. They've had a much better success in native Germany and have announced plans to reintroduce the Phaeton to the U.S., but so far, none have been shipped. Sometimes mistakes like these in the new car market actually enhance resale value of existing cars as time passes and they become considered classics. Chris Lofgren of Classical Gas in Mansfield, Texas, is an expert at what it takes to find, restore, and sell vintage vehicles.
Selling classic cars is not like selling normal cars. Basically, these are toys. These are things that guys are buying to enjoy on the weekend, have fun with, have bragging rights about. We've got everything from blue-collar guys that are buying the car that they wanted to have when they were in high school, to older gentlemen that are retired and have done well in their employment or careers and now have the expendable cash to have collections. So they've got a little bit different passion about these type of cars than your normal everyday driver that they'd be buying. They're very concerned about the condition of the car. They want to know how it looks underneath. They want to know everything they can know about the car. A lot of the cars that we sell come with full histories behind them, where there's a documented book that will take it all the way back to the first owner and the first dealership that handled the car back in 1940. So all that information is real important to the people that are buying classic cars. It just depends on what kind of car they're buying, whether it's something that's going to be a good investment or just a good toy for the weekend.
Chris shows us a few of the cars in his inventory and details what makes them so special to buyers. The first is a 1964 Impala hardtop with a 327 motor.
It's a beautiful white color. It's got a red interior, automatic, 2-speed power glide transmission. Very nice classic car. A lot of people really are fond of these old Impalas, and they've really gotten a lot of interest in the marketplace. This one has the rear fender skirts, very much restored back to original. Very nice restoration. A car like this in the marketplace is going to, be somewhere in the mid-20s to the mid-30s. It's a wonderful example of a true American classic car from 1964. Nothing wild about the paint job, just plain white. We'll have people that come in and they'll have a very specific car in mind. And it may be, the car like they had in high school, and they want that same color, they want that same engine, the same option package and everything. And we may not have that car available for them in our current inventory. But we do locating service, and we'll go out and try to help them find that car and wherever it is in the country. That's the wonders of the internet. You can really search them out. We also have a dealership network that we deal with, and we help each other out. If he's got a piece of inventory that I've got a client that has an interest in, we may work out a trade deal. As far as trades, there's a lot of people that will want to do that, but it's not the typical trade-in like you do at a new car dealership. If someone's got a nice custom car or street rod that they're interested in trading in or toward something else that we have available, we'll always consider that. On the flip side of that, if they've got a 2000 Ford Focus, no, we're not interested in trading for one of our classic cars in that environment, because all we're going to do is wholesale the car out, and there's really no advantage for the prospective buyer or for us. But there's a lot of trades that go back and forth. A lot of collectors, they'll be interested in one genre of cars, and then maybe they grow out of that and get interested in something else. And so they'll find another collector that has done the opposite, and they'll work out trade deals. There's nothing wrong with the car, they've just ready for a change. So we get a lot of people contacting us that they'll see something in our inventory they're interested in, and they'll want to see if there's a trade opportunity. It's not like walking into a dealership where you're going to be dealing with a window sticker and with a salesperson who's got to go check with the sales manager as far as reducing the price. You're dealing with me or the owner of the car, and there's always ways to make things happen. This is a 51 Ford Victoria, beautifully restored car. It's still running its flathead motor, 3-speed manual transmission. Got some great chrome on it, beautiful black paint. It's running lake pipes. Got the original style wheels, lots of chrome. The 51 Victoria was the first hardtop that the Ford Motor Company ever put out. They rushed to put them out because GM had come out with a hardtop car. And so they literally pulled convertibles off the manufacturing production line and turned them into the Victoria hardtops. It's a rare car, in beautiful condition, been restored extremely well. Price point on a car like this, in this condition, with this type of restoration, $30,000 to $35,000 car. Beautiful black paint, great lines, very, very classic look. This is a 61 Corvair Monza. 61 was the first full year for the Corvair. Very nice restoration car. Been cared for all its life. It's in great condition, runs and drives extremely well. Took a lot of knocks over its time. Ralph Nader really got after Chevrolet for making the Corvair, and then they discontinued them. It has an equal restoration to the Impala that we looked at, but from a price point value, this is a $10,000 to $15,000 car, even though it's been completely restored. So you can see the marketplace is a little bit different. It's got the dual carburetors. Very nicely done restoration on the motor. It's a lot different than the new car market. I mean, you'll hear new car dealers talk about selling, in the hundreds every month. In this industry, if we sell 8 to 10 cars a month, we've had a very good month. But it goes through pits and valleys. We'll have a month where we may only sell 2 cars, and then the next month, all of a sudden, it's like someone turns the faucet back on and we'll sell, 12 or 15. Also from a value standpoint, you buy a new car, the moment you drive it off the showroom lot, I mean, it's going to depreciate instantly, and in 2 years, it's going to be worth half the value of what you paid for it. And a good classic car or custom car, it's going to retain its value and in some cases go up in value. So, from the dollars being spent, I just can't see any other reason to go with a new car versus a classic car. 72 GTX 440 Magnum car. Got a lot of great styling to it, a very interesting looking hood with the striping. This one's got a black vinyl top, automatic transmission. Nice gold color, got a great looking grille and headlight assembly. Just a really nice stance. Really nice muscle car. Some people may not like the GTXs. Some people may be just Chevrolet guys or just Ford guys, but everybody likes a nice American muscle car. You can have a nice car that's in the mid-teens all the way to 6 figures. For a nice classic car that they're going to enjoy on the weekend and not have to worry about driving it, you're probably looking at $25,000 to $40,000 as far as a good average area. And I know that that's still a pretty wide spread, but it all really depends on what kind of car you're looking at. Here's another GTX. This one here has been highly modified. This is 68. It's been really worked over. It's got a full roll cage in it, disc brakes on all 4 wheels, beautiful green color, great interior, nice job on the build of this car. It's got a supercharged 440 motor in it. This one's dialed up pretty strong. That engine's putting out somewhere around 900 to 1,000 horses. This is not your gas economy car by any means, but when you pull into the parking lot at the local car show and something that rumbles like this one does, everybody stops what they're doing and takes notice. They all crowd over and they want to see that motor. They want to hear it started up and revved up. It's a very impressive piece. This car here with this equipment, this is again a $40,000 to $50,000 car. It's highly customized, and so the purist that's in the car hobby, he may appreciate the car for what it is, but he may not want to buy it for his collection because it's been modified so much. But there's a lot of guys out there that they're not worried about the originality as much as they are the sheer raw horsepower and muscle car portion of it. This next one's an old Packard. This is all a completely original car, maintained real well. It's got its original straight 8 flathead motor in it. Its hood opens up sideways and you can open it up either direction. You talk about a big piece of American iron, this is it. Be a nice addition to anybody's collection. These are just a few examples of the cars that we have in inventory right now and the type of cars that we deal in. My wife and I always did the classic cars as a hobby. And I used to have a corporate career and just got burned out on the corporate life and corporate politics. Being middle-aged, didn't really know what I wanted to do for a living and decided might as well do something that can have fun at and enjoy, and opened up Classical Gas. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of hours, where everybody else goes to work Monday through Friday. I do that as well. But those people, they're wanting to be able to look at the cars on the weekend. And so it's a 7-day-a-week job, but we have a blast doing it. Can't beat getting to mess with something that you're passionate about. We're all kind of show-offs in a certain way, and that's why we like to drive these hot rods and classic cars. There's nothing better than you pull up at a stoplight and everybody's giving you the thumbs up or asking you questions about the car. You don't get that in your normal car. If I'm driving a Ford Taurus, no one's going to even pay attention. But when you pull up in a 69 Camaro or a 37 Ford like what's behind me, I guarantee you, you get a lot of attention.
General Motors presents Transportation Unlimited.
The Motorama was an auto show staged by General Motors from 1949 to 1961, typically held in New York City to coincide with the New York Auto Show. GM created these events to whet public appetite and boost car sales by displaying fancy prototypes, concept vehicles, and motor-related exhibits. This is the 1949 Extravaganza, the first annual event. It showed in both New York and Boston, bringing in a combined attendance of nearly 600,000 people. The cars seen here weren't considered concept cars or show cars. They were dream cars. That was what Harley Earl, General Motors' styling chief, called these blindingly bright visions of the future.
This historic showplace of the world furnishes the setting for the exciting shows and exhibits presented by General Motors in their greatest spectacle of all time, Transportation Unlimited. Excitement and anticipation run high as eager thousands from among the nation's automotive enthusiasts jam entrances to view this special display. They love it, for the kind of life we live and love depends on transportation.
C.E. Wilson, president of General Motors, greets bandmaster Fred Waring. Other distinguished guests include General Albert Cody Wademeyer, Army Plans Chief and wartime China Theater Commander. Also present with the other luminaries is movie actress Glenda Farrell. And another bright star gracing the show with his presence is James Melton of the Melodious Voice, who is welcomed by Albert Bradley, Executive Vice President of GM. Representing Broadway are Jessica Tandy and her husband Hume Cronin. In fact, they're all here to get the latest on the latest. And why not? It is with pride that they can behold one of the engines of the year. It's the compact and powerful Chevrolet Power Plant. It has Economy Plus. But if you like gimmicks, watch this closely. It starts out by being the peppy, power-packed Pontiac engine, all in one piece. And right before your eyes, it starts a mechanical striptease. As its massive block begins to unfold like Milady's handbag, every detail of its working parts is there for you to look at. To produce this little marvel, 3 motor blocks were used. But whether your Pontiac comes in the 6 or 8-cylinder version, they're both power-packed. There's an extra snap to this motor. While this is a good trick, we wouldn't advise you to try it on your own Pontiac.
Now the spotlight turns on the wheel of fashion, where the aristocratic 49 Buick holds every eye. What a wonderful summery sight on these frosty days. Under that graceful hood, there lurks the famous Fireball engine, whose smooth power output has become more than mere performance. It has become a tradition. More than that, on Roadmaster models, it comes equipped with Dynaflow, the oil transmission which eliminates gear shifting. I don't see how she has the heart to get out of that beautifully styled car with the distinctive venter ports on the front fender. And don't forget that the crowd is looking strictly at the car. That is, up to now they were. The new Buick has 22% more glass area in all models. Oh, all right, look at her, but we'll come back to the car later. Of course, this Buick is an aid to romance. But remember also that it hasn't a clutch pedal. The silky Dynaflow has banished forever that gear shift lever that baffled Aunt Minnie. Now, about that girl, it seems she has on a beach costume. But we ask you how she would have gotten to the beach without a Buick, balanced to take up every road shock. Incidentally, those venter ports we mentioned earlier aren't there just for ornaments. They help in keeping the mighty Fireball engine cool. Yes, Buick is Cupid's own ally, but it is much, much more. It is the car that has gone down through the years as a symbol of dependability, durability, and responsibility. Now in 49, Buick has again striven successfully to better its past enviable record. Every General Motors resource and technical skill has gone into making it the greatest Buick in history. This is the incomparably beautiful Roadmaster, styled for the atomic age. Dynaflow is standard equipment on this model. Again, Buick raises its head proudly in a patrician family of motor cars, cars that proclaim America's industrial supremacy. Yes, the dog is optional.
Yes, there's plenty for the record audience to see in this glittering panorama of automotive stardom. Let's follow the crowd through the long parade of displays that grace ballrooms and balconies. In addition to the line of super-duper automobiles, fascinating engineering miracles are revealed. This miniature, proceeding over a rough-riding testing apparatus, is doing 60 miles per hour standing still. But it gets results, as anyone can see. From such experimental operations, engineers are enabled to provide a smooth ride. GM research engineers fashion a lot of fancy gadgets to give us the lowdown on a car's mechanism. The Dynaflow transmission principle, making for automatic changes from one speed to another, and a graphic example of the advantages built into the new high-compression motor, powering Cadillacs and Oldsmobiles. Among the other interesting presentations is a device to register the precision timing of the ignition. 1/1000th of a second may mean 2 miles per gallon. Here, the advance and retard of the spark are reflected at different power requirements and speeds.
The merry Oldsmobile takes its place on the wheel of fashion. Another member of the Futuramic line for 49. Right in line with the Futuramic styling is this stylish couple, all duked out for, say, is this bride and groom to be? Could be. If so, they'll certainly be wedded to their new Olds with its full-width body, oversized windshield, hug-the-road grills, wrap-around bumpers, and built-in ventilating system. Well, it looks like we guessed it correctly the first time. They are very lovey-dovey. That gown, by the way, is not standard equipment with the car, even though it matches the Olds Futuramic styling. And here's the big surprise. A surprise I suspect that she expected. But the big surprise about Oldsmobile is its new 135 horsepower rocket engine, the most powerful engine ever built into an Olds. And now it looks like congratulations are in order, not only for the rocket, but for our happy couple. So, what about a little music, Professor?
Say, before you leave, let's tell you that there are 3 sparkling new 98 series Oldsmobiles. And don't forget, the new power plant, like that of Cadillacs, is a high-compression job that utilizes the principles of GM's new high-octane fuel economy. What chance has a gal got in a car like that? Hey, lady, don't forget those smart air scoops built in below the headlights. And no backseat driving. The interiors of GM's 49 family come in for just as careful design as the glamorous exteriors. After all, the upholstery is what you ride on, and careful attention has been lavished on this phase of comfort. In this cutaway Fisher body, you may see the compact and resilient springing of the cushions that make for that smoothest of rides.
And now the greatest selling automobile in the world, the Chevrolet for 1949, makes its bow with no reason for stage fright. For here it is, complete with 20 major mechanical advancements. Uh-oh. Look what he thinks he's going to give her for a wedding present. All wrapped up in white satin ribbon. Don't tell her a thing, though. This is supposed to be a surprise. Does she know this beautiful creation has a new improved valve-in-head engine? She does not. Does she know about the extra wide wheel rims? She does not, but she knows she likes it, and isn't he wonderful? Well, keep looking, Toots. You'll find plenty to delight you. Did you ever see such luxury in a low-priced car? Just as a sample, there's 30% more driver vision. But there's more, much more. The styling compares with cars of far greater price. Does she know all this? She does not, but she's rapidly finding out. Even if she didn't love the guy, she'd probably marry him for the Chevrolet. She still has to find out about what that low center of gravity does to make a Chevrolet ride like floating on a pink cloud. And there's plenty of room in that trunk for her trousseau. Uh-oh, now it starts. He thinks he's going to get into the driver's seat, but she caught sight of that wheel and exquisitely designed dashboard. And he bets she won't wind up driving. She may not know for sure, but she's got an idea the center point steering will make her a champion driver. Well, you can't blame a guy for trying. After all, he bought the car. Maybe he whispered something about the low-pressure tires. Anyway, it worked. She loved the car all the time. And guess who's in the driver's seat? Uh-huh, the little woman. Well, at that, you can't blame her when the car's a '49 Chevrolet, the low-priced car with a big car performance. Stingy on fuel, generous on service, Chevrolet is tailored to newlyweds' budget. In designing Chevrolet, GM has considered the small income groups in this America on wheels. For to an American, a car is an intimate part of life. It spells freedom, release from care, the adventures of the highway, and Chevrolet brings them all, plus luxury.
All the success of this great automotive show is reflected in the smile of C.E. Wilson, president of General Motors.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have seen the wonders of the greatest post-war automotive show. They have been brought to you as milestones in the progress of industrial America. In themselves, they represent the results of 380,000 people working as a team. For those of you who have been unable to visit this great free show, General Motors cordially invites you to call on your local dealer and inspect for yourselves the cars you have just seen on your television set and which GM so proudly presented as a result of post-war research and engineering.
In recent years, GM's Corvette line has begun offering what's called the R8C special delivery option. For months while the car is being built, owners can watch the progress unfold on the internet. And when the big day arrives, they come to the only Corvette factory, located in Bowling Green, Kentucky, for a tour of the plant and adjacent museum.
We put the car on display in what we call the Corvette Nursery. This is where the owner and the Corvette first meet. We say it's giving birth to a new relationship, the Corvette owner and his or her new car. And we kind of wait until the end of the museum visit to have them come around the corner and their car is on display. It's on the Corvette Museum website, so they're able to tell their friends that they're picking up their new car and their friends can see it on the website.
And when they walk around the corner, it's magic in the making. Different people react in different ways, but they're always elated at sitting in their new car for the first time.
Wanted one of these all my life. I can't wait to get out. This is going to be our travel car. We're going to be a few miles going down the road, various places. And I think more fun will be just driving it than getting there. But.
And reach up there and touch the top button.
Oh, I love that instrument panel.
European automakers also offer a special delivery option, but theirs includes enjoying a European vacation as well. Mostly called the European Delivery Program, new owners fly to the country of origin to pick up their vehicle, sometimes right off the factory floor. Then at the end of a European tour, they simply drop off their vehicle in any one of half a dozen countries and fly home. The car is then shipped right to their driveway. Packages vary, but many include hotel accommodations, and each one offers a substantial discount to the price of the vehicle that in turn pays for the trip. If you're looking for a new car and a chance to get away, it's the perfect choice. But the perks don't stop there. Companies like BMW, Porsche, and Saab also offer their customers exclusive performance driving courses that are tailored to the specific vehicle bought. Saab calls their program the Aero Academy. More than just a driving course, Saab builds a community between the customers who attend the Aero Academy. An elegant dinner at the Chateau Elan in Atlanta helps to bring that about. John Lebos, product manager for the 9.3 and the 9.2X product line, is one of the Saab executives who attends the dinners. John shared with us more about his role at Saab and his involvement with the Saab Aero Academy.
That really involves setting specifications, doing competitive pricing, competitive analysis, and getting involved with programs such as the Saab Aero Academy. This program wasn't my vision, but my boss's, and his vision really was to give people a unique experience, teach them some good, proper driving techniques, something you might need with a high-powered front-wheel drive sedan. We give what I would call a unique driver and control experience. You feel very, very connected to the car. You can feel direct feedback from the road surface you're driving on and direct response and input when you give that back to the car. We get several things out of this program. Probably foremost, we get direct feedback from our customers because we get to join them both during their exercises here at the track and at dinner one evening, and we get a nice face-to-face, eye-to-eye conversation, dialogue.
I am in a position to do that. 93SS Aero 2, have you heard of such a thing? 93SS Aero 2.
They give us lots of feedback on what they like, what they don't like, what they'd like to see in the future. What's unique about this experience is that it's really standard equipment, if you will. It comes as part of the package when you purchase a 9.5 Aero, whereas some of our competitors' programs are a pay-as-you-go type of a program. We are, in fact, giving people some skills that they didn't have when they arrived here. Very, very positive experience. I think it sort of cements the ownership experience for them as well. And again, for very selfish reasons, we like that. We hope we're offering them a unique experience, one that they won't find just everywhere, so that in the future, they'll consider us the next time they're out looking for a car.
Not too many years ago, Mercedes-Benz was the acknowledged luxury car leader in Europe. Then BMW bought Rolls-Royce, Volkswagen bought Bentley, and now Daimler-Benz comes out with a luxury car of its own. They reach back to the early part of the last century for the name Maybach, a famous luxury car of that time, and have created the new Maybach, an ultra-luxury car that is a wonder to behold. It feels more like you're inside a jet aircraft, and is cost comparable too. For your $360,000, you do get a lot of automobile. If you're a celebrity or just someone who values their privacy, then take advantage of the electric curtains on the back window. You can also enjoy reclining back seats that are perforated and air-conditioned or heated. Plus they give you a massage. This 6,000-pound car has a 543 horsepower V12 that will push it from 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds. Just don't spill your champagne. So if you consider the luxury of a regular Mercedes to be somewhat beneath you, the Maybach may be the vehicle you need. The Range Stormer is a concept car designed by Richard Woolley under the Land Rover brand, and this is the first concept car that they've created since 1948.
Well, Range Stormer for Land Rover is, first of all, our first concept vehicle ever. And what we've done with Range Stormer is blend bold technology with all new styling. Real technical story meets exciting dynamic performance. You can see that we've preserved classic Land Rover styling and architecture in this vehicle. Very noticeably, there are short overhangs on this vehicle, air suspension, which allows sufficient travel and clearance for off-road technology, supercharged V8 that's supplied by Jaguar, but it's been specially proven for Land Rover. That means it's been outfitted to be waterproofed, mud-proofed, and capable of operating at severe angles. Obviously, there are elements of this vehicle which are all about being a concept car. So extreme elements such as a jackknife door likely won't see production, but they are indicative of some of the creative thinking that our engineers and designers are bringing to our all-new vehicles. This vehicle is our opportunity to showcase a new platform architecture that will be at the basis of all our future models. And as we go out throughout this year, you'll see evidence of new models, new technologies coming from Land Rover.
A production version of the Range Stormer was planned for release as a 2006 model, where it became the four-door Range Rover Sport. In 2004, the Lincoln Mercury division of Ford Motor Company was looking for a design theme that will recapture America's fancy. The man charged with finding that look was Peter Horbury. We asked what gives him an edge when finding the right design style.
I think one of the things, being an outsider coming to a new culture or into a culture I don't belong to, is that I can spot those things which make a difference. When we did the new Volvo look, it was by going into Sweden as a foreigner that I was able to spot those things that the Swedes had become so accustomed to, they hadn't noticed them, but they were peculiar to Sweden. So using those things in the design of the cars meant that we had a very Swedish product, a very unique product because it was only Swedish, and we also used the Volvo heritage in that reminding sort of way, the subconscious recognition. And I think coming to America, Detroit especially, there will be things that I as an outsider can pick on and say, that is unique. Where an American would probably say, well, I didn't know that, we just got used to it. There's no excuse for an ugly car. I mean, the tooling that we buy to bend the sheet metal, to mold the plastics, that tooling is going to cost the same to make a beautiful car as it would to cost a mediocre car or an ugly car even. So there really should be no excuse. Leave the designers to do their job when you get a beautiful car. I think that's one of the things we learned at Volvo, is that once you trust the design department and you have a professional design department, then there's more chance of creating something inspired and beautiful. Because aesthetics today are everywhere. We really are bombarded with information on aesthetics, books and magazines on how to design your home, make yourself look good, make your food look good even. So aesthetics are everywhere. So people are interested in it. They demand good-looking products, and I think that's something we will not avoid, let's say, in the future, something that is easy to do. Lincoln does represent American luxury in a way that many other brands do, that people look towards Lincoln to be something special, but to be something American. And that's very important. I don't think we should design Lincolns in Italy or Germany or anywhere else. Lincolns are American and should be created here, even if I'm not American. I will be inspired by being in America, and we have a very big team of designers working on Lincoln, inspired by some of the past, but as I say, not repeating it. I think there's a lot of recognized or recognizable Lincoln factors in this car without it being retro. And it's very important, I think, to make a difference between sort of repeating the past or just reminding of the past. And I think that's the way to do it, is use enough design cues that people would almost subconsciously recognize as belonging to the brand, because it's a terrific heritage, and it's a waste if you don't use that heritage. But it's certainly not retro, it's the way ahead with some of those recognizable design cues in it already. This is what we do in motor shows. We tend to experiment in public and see what the reaction is. I think my favorite has to be the Mustang, because it's actually something you can afford and drive. And I think that's the car I'd like to drive here. One thing about the Mustang is that it's known everywhere. It's known throughout the world. It's not sold throughout the world, but through movies and magazines and models and whatever, and TV programs from America, everybody knows the Mustang. And that's something which maybe would be something we can think about in the future.
There is one vehicle in the Ford lineup that, as a Brit, Horbury is not yet accustomed to.
No, we don't have pickup trucks in England, and that perhaps is my biggest learning experience to come. I really will do a crammer course in pickup trucks. In fact, I have to drive one, so I'll live the life of a pickup driver.